Hey, what is up guys? My name is Ollie, and in today's video I'm going to talk about how to find the best and the cheapest places here in Bali, Indonesia if you need a place to stay, either for short-term rent or long-term. If you're currently looking for that, this is the video for you. I've been living here in Bali, Indonesia for 1.5 years so far. I've been traveling and moving around. I've been basically around the entire island at this point, so I know a lot of things and a lot of things that you should not do. So this is the video for you. So let's talk about it. So one of the first things I would always start out with is to ask the locals. Whenever there is something that you need to know here in Bali, it is all the knowledge and all the good things are gonna come from the people who are living here long term, and not necessarily always the travel kind of things, because a lot of people don't actually go out and travel to all the places. But when it comes to like what the price is for a accommodation, then you can trust that the locals really know, because they've been living here a long time, and that will also happen to you after a while of living here. So where I would start out with my adventure of looking for a place to stay is always to ask the locals. So whenever you are coming here, if you're coming here for a vacation or if you're coming here with plans of staying here more long term, it's still the same strategies that are really gonna work for it. So what I would say is always, if you can find a cheap place to book online first, because first of all you're gonna be jet lagged when you come here. Like if you're one of those lucky people, then wish I was you, but I'm knocked out for like 2-3 days. So I'm booking a place online. If you need to book a place, I would highly suggest Agoda. They have some really good deals, and that's where I'm able to consistently find places for like last minute deals for like $6 a night, about 100,000 Indonesian rupiah. So that's where I would start. And once you are here, it's going to be a lot easier just going around asking the places directly. And what I would start out with is asking around at the place you are staying at, if they know any places more long-term rent, and the chances are very high that they are actually going to guide you to someone, or they know someone, a family, a cousin, someone they know that is going to guide you towards at least a lead of where you can look for a place to stay next. The next thing I would do is to look for places online but then show up in person. I know this is a little bit more work, and it's going to take a little bit of time, energy, and it can get quite hot here in Bali, but sometimes when I've been doing that, I've been able to get some amazing deals, and I get to get a feel for the place as well. Because if you're gonna stay there for a month or for a while, you want to stay in a place where you can actually feel like you can do some work, you can feel like you're at home basically. After you have gotten to get a feel for the place, you can start asking for the price. So whenever you are getting the price, they're always gonna give you the higher price. And if you're a Westerner, foreigner, chances are it's gonna be the highest possible price that they think people are willing to pay for it. And if you're gonna go in touristy areas, then you can be damn sure that the price is gonna be quite a bit higher than what you would pay just a bit outside. This is why this is going to take a little bit of practice, because you're going to have to get an idea of what different places are worth, and it's never gonna be, well, very unlikely it's going to be the first price that they give you. So most of the time, I know a lot of people, they always go by the bargaining rule, which is about 50%, but this is not necessarily the case when it comes to places to stay, because there's a lot of other costs, and you also don't want to screw the people over, because they also have a family to feed and different costs of keeping the place nice as well. So you want to find a fair deal when it comes to it. What I can easily say is you can do about 30% less of the price that you find online. When it comes to a lot of the booking websites, they will add a certain commission or a certain percentage that they add on top of the price. And if you bargain less at the place, then you can cut that price out. And 30% less over time is actually gonna be quite a bit. So that is why it's such a big deal, and they're gonna be happy because they're gonna get the money directly in their pocket as well, and they don't have to pay the big fees, and they don't have to let all the money go to the big company, big booking companies, which is a win-win situation. So if you're having a bit of a challenge finding a place and you are looking in some of the tourist areas, then very likely it's going to be sometimes you're ending up with some dead ends. But the good thing is sometimes the second best thing is the place that's just a little bit outside. For example, in Canggu, you have Canggu, which is basically a small strip, and then you have Barawa next to it, the other side Peraranan, and then you have another area here, which is this one, yes. And this area and some of the other areas around, if you're willing to drive for about 15-20 minutes, you're gonna be getting such a much better deal. For instance, the place I'm living in now is kind of like in the middle of, like, you have Ubud, then you have my place, and then Gianyar. And just because it's 15 minutes outside of Ubud, I pay 1.8 million Indonesian rupiah, which is like a little bit over $100. And my God, that is a good deal. It's a small house, but it has everything I need. I love the landlord, and that's one of the best things about just showing up and seeing if you like it. In my experience, whenever I encounter a dead end or I don't know any more places I can look, I normally go to one place. And in my experience, at least when you go to the local places, you're always going to be able to find a new lead, a new place to look when you are asking someone local. The place that you live in, like in Indonesia, you have something called a banjar, which is basically the neighborhood, and everyone within that neighborhood or banjar knows each other pretty well. And every time I was looking within that area, they all knew each other. So whenever I went somewhere, I was like, oh, I'm sorry, like we don't have any availability now, but this person, which is down here, and they give you the address and show you there, and sometimes they drive you with the bike there. It's like, yeah, and that is the best part of it. But chances are this is not necessarily always going to happen in the tourist areas, because of course they want people to stay at their place. But if they're fully booked, they're generally very nice and accommodating to help you find another place as well to stay. So in my experience, I really love staying in the local areas, like 15-20 minutes outside of places. I do not mind at all driving a little bit extra every day, just because I love waking up with beautiful rice fields. I love waking up with like locals that are smiling and waving, because like they're not that used to seeing foreigners and seeing people there, which is why I really love living here as well. It's such a beautiful experience, and I can honestly say that living here in Bali, Indonesia has been such a blessing, and it's something I can honestly recommend to anyone. No matter if you are on a healing journey, if you want to start your own business, like working as a digital nomad, if you want to do something like spirituality, if you want to do like yoga teacher training, or yeah, that kind of stuff, then this is going to be such a beautiful place. And here in Ubud have big beautiful place, and this place is a little bit more. It's 6 million Indonesian rupiah, but this is also very central in Ubud, which is why I highly recommend that you find some more local places, unless you have the budget to spend and you also don't want to ride the extra 10 minutes, because they also, if you're riding a lot every single day, they also add up, so you have to take that into consideration with the cost as well. So in my experience, one of the things that has really helped me when I was looking for a place to stay has also been to learn a little bit of the local language. And it doesn't have to be much, it's just a little courtesy, and it shows to the people, it shows to the locals that you are respecting them, and we're here as equals as well. And it's just like a little extra bonus tip for you guys. But I've noticed their face brighten up quite a bit, and it's the same like if you go to like a local Varong restaurant, it's the same thing. They will give you a little bit extra, like big portion. That's an extra bonus tip for you guys on the house. So when it comes to one of my favorite places to stay in Bali, I personally prefer staying around the Ubud area, and there's a few reasons for this. you can find generally some really good deals if you go a little bit outside. I'm paying 1.8 million for a big house, which is, well, it's actually a small house, but for me it feels big because I like it, and that's just what matters. And when the reason why I love Ubud is that it's in a central location. It's not as hot as if you're staying on down south on the coast or up north on the coast, which the difference is normally like 2-3 degrees, but I notice it a lot. And it's already like close to 30 degrees, so it's very hot staying there. So which is why I recommend staying like either around Ubud area if you want to do like any yoga, spiritual stuff, or if you just want to have a location that is very central in Bali and you can easily reach most of the places within 1 hour, like either around Canggu area. Uluwatu is 1.5 hours. It's really close, and it's also not too far up north as well, just over an hour to an hour and a half, and that's why you can reach so many places. If you want to work at all the different cafes, you can also stay around the Canggu area or a little bit outside in these areas, and then you're gonna have a much cheaper price, but you also have to consider how much it's gonna cost you. If you don't drive yourself, then you also have to take into consideration the price for the Gojek, which is kind of cheap, but it can also add up if you're using it all the time. So that's something to consider as well. So that has been my personal tips for finding a nice and amazing place to stay in Bali, Indonesia. Hope it is helping you guys out. If you do have any questions, I will answer any questions that you have in the comments down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you subscribe because I got plenty of content coming out, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.